And with that, thank you very much, Craig. I'm going to head on over to Dan O'Connor here. He's going to talk about the...
I can fill it in from there.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
go ahead.
So I am about as rude as it comes. Gary let me know this meeting earlier today, and I didn't have a chance to make a phone call to kind of make sure that I was coming, and then I didn't tell my wife, which was like double problems, that I was going to stop here and then not be home in time to put the kids to bed. So I'm probably in a heap of trouble, so I'll try to keep it brief tonight and make sure that nobody has any questions. The school district has 2 ballot initiatives on August 4th. And for those that don't know me, I'm the superintendent at Alcona Schools. So my name is Dan O'Connor. Super brief history for me that haven't come in contact with me much. Was lucky enough to be hired here in 2006 as a teacher, taught English for 6 years and coached, and then transitioned to elementary principal for a couple of years, and then to high school principal for a couple of years, and then was able to take over as superintendent a little over 3 years ago. So very fortunate to land where we are. My wife and I, live in the county, not from here, but just love where we live, and really proud to be a Tiger and couldn't find a better landing spot. So that being said, the district has 2 ballot initiatives on the August 4th ballot. The first would be the 18 mil non-homestead tax, which essentially provides about 60% of our operator revenue, and that's about 90% of our state funding. So obviously pretty tricky for us to continue to open the doors without the 18 mil non-homestead tax, being able to pass. It would drastically change the way we would look. Right, wrong, or indifferent, the state just assumes that you're going to pass the 18 mil non-homestead tax, and every district will do it across the state, and that was part of Proposal A in 1994 when some of those changes were made. So I have a little bit of literature here that I'll just leave up front for those that have questions. This comes on the ballot about every 4 years, as a renewal, and again, it's only on non-homestead properties. So, yep.
So does that mean we're voting on, Alcona residents are voting on people that live downstate, having an 18 mil on their home up here?
Essentially, yes. As weird as that sounds, and I've had to try to explain the reasoning for that, and I can't do it. All I know is that's the way the law works, and
well, we're the only ones. They can't vote up there. They vote down there.
Yeah.
So,
Like
but we're voting to raise their taxes.
Or renew their taxes. Yeah.
Is it 18 mils? So a renewal of 18 mils, not an increase.
Not an increase. No. That's all we're allowed to assess is 18 mils one way or another. We can't go above that. So we're just expected to assess that 18 mils on that homestead. So
Okay.
Good question. Any other questions on 18 mils? The second one's a little more tricky, and I'm going to try to do my best to explain it. So it's a sinking fund is what it's called, and what a sinking fund is for schools is it allows us to repair infrastructure, within the district. It is a 1 mil tax on all taxable properties, and on your ballot it's going to be listed as a new sinking fund, and this is the part that's confusing. So this passed in 2015 initially as a 1 mil sinking fund, and we've been able to re-roof the entire district, update some handicap accessibility spots, update the entry, remove asbestos tiles from classrooms, as ridiculous as that sounds, to try to be able to get those things out. Be able to remove carpet from the elementary building and make it more healthy and breathable for students. Again, on the ballot, it's listed as new, and the reason why it's listed as new is the state changed what was allowed in sinking funds between 2015 and now. So in order for us to take advantage of the security and technology flexibility that now allows, we had to go back and list it as new. So when you see your ballot, this is a renewal of the same tax that you're currently paying from 2015, but on your ballot it's listed as new. And I know the word new scares people, when you see that new tax, so I just try to do the best I can to make sure to communicate to everybody that it's not an increase over where you were. If we're lucky enough to have this pass, we are going to replace the late 50s original windows on the high school, would be our next year's project. We have boilers, the original kitchen at the middle high school needs to be replaced, and then our security cameras and PA systems must be upgraded. We're in a dire spot on both of those 2 elements. So pretty basic projects we hope at this point. We really tried to focus on projects that would give back to the district, like I talked about the roof, different things to try to be energy efficient in those pieces. So this summer we're very timely. We're doing HVAC controls project again to try to help energy efficiency and been able to capitalize on a bunch of rebates as well through consumers. So we're going to pay for a project that's going to give back as well. And then we've been able to do 7 classrooms of carpet at the elementary as well, and take the carpet out that was 30 years old and redo that to polished concrete, and had positive effects on that front too in terms of student health for the rooms that we've already been able to do over the last couple of years. So really trying to be fiscally responsible. You know, as a school district, on the back of this pamphlet, there's a small little chart. Again, between bond debt and sinking fund debt for comparable districts around the region, we have the lowest taxable rate out of almost all those, the lowest listed on here. So
Are you handing those out?
I'm gonna, I'll distribute those, but, you know, again, trying to really be smart with what we have and, you know, trying to pick projects that are either gonna give back to security or safety or energy efficiency as well, so we can put more dollars back in the classroom and have more teachers available to help students or support study. So, you go first. Yeah.
Okay, so kind of twofold. On our next tax statement, assuming this new one passes, all right, it's a continuation of the old, so on our new tax bill, we won't see the old
Correct.
anymore.
Correct.
Okay, so now what if this new one doesn't pass? What happens to the old? When does that
It
expire?
still goes away. So this summer would have been the last tax.
Oh, that would have been the last
Yep.
year.
Of the
Okay,
sinking
all right,
fund.
okay.
Yep. So if this fails, we'll probably try it again in November, you know, and hope to do a better job. It's obviously been incredibly difficult to get the word out on this, considering the current state of affairs and hardly anybody meeting in May and June. So we've scrambled around going to township meetings and everything we possibly could try to get to over the last 30 days. I think it's like 39 meetings and 40 days for the group that's been trying to help me, you know, scramble around and get this at least communicated out and let people have the right information. So.
I have found that in the last few months, people glare at me if I mention the word politics, taxes, government, or any myriad of others, because they are so sick of everything that if you even do a what is that? Not a rage word, but a
Rant.
yeah. Well, if you
Well,
come up
even
with
if-
that the word spark people on. Yeah, yeah.
Trigger.
Thank you.
Trigger.
There's like 10 trigger words and you're on there. So just be aware.
Okay, Mayor.
No, I was gonna ask the same question
Okay.
she did, so what's up with it?
When this goes onto the ballot, will it be worded in such a way that makes it clear to voters that this isn't something new, this is replacing the existing tax?
We weren't able to add that language on there.
Oh, then we need to
So
get that
people are
word
gonna think
out.
you're asking for double.
Yeah, we
Yeah, so
gotta
we're
make
gonna have to
sure
get
people
that
know
word
that.
out,
Okay.
really.
You know, every population in the county kind of has a different way to access them. So, you know, we've been trying to get information out to our parents as well, email, Facebook, things like that. But that's not going to reach, you know, a lot of people in this, you know, different demographics. You know, so that's why I've only can count on word of mouth and ask people just to, you know, at least explain that. Well, it's listed as new and it's going to show up on the ballot as new. It's not. And
What's the exact name of that list?
sinking fund.
Sinking
Yep.
fund? Okay.
So it's the Alcona County Schools Sinking Fund?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll do what we can to get the word out, but it's very
This
important
is
to
not
make
an
sure
informal
everybody
question.
understands that that's not a new tax. If we don't pass that, then the schools are losing funding that they've had for years.
I'll get the word out. This is not an informative thing. I'm going door to door. I just want, if everybody knows your superintendent, this is from an out-of-state person that came here 3 years ago, from a very liberal state. I want to tell you, I want to thank you for your pledge of allegiance in the school, for your allowing my wife to teach the constitutional class in school. And I'm telling you, you got a gym there and you're doing a good job. And then people need to know that. And that just an attaboy to you. If you come from a place I came from, you just, they don't say that anymore. No pledges, no nothing. So thank you.
Yes,
Terry, I want to second that because we work with kids.
Yep.
We're there on the ground level with them. And I thank God for that man,
Amen.
for what he's doing over there. Because I don't know what this area would be in our
If-
schools
right.
would be without them.
I appreciate that. I thank you so much for stopping by, even though you didn't call me. This is one of the things that's been kind of going on. I have a standing order. It's an open invitation, and anybody can come and speak. And I'm so glad you're here because I'm probably going to put you on the spot. Yes, Rosie?
I was just wondering if you have any idea what the plan is for opening school in the fall.
Right.
Well, that's a loaded question. That's so a lot of things happening right now. We are trying to do everything in our power to have as much face-to-face instruction as possible while abiding by the regulations that are going to be set for us. So we know a lot of our families are low income, and they're really, the young students especially, are struggling, not having instruction from March essentially through the end of the school year. So we're drafting a plan right now to obviously be flexible. Some families may be comfortable, some may not, and we have to be ready for that a little bit as well. But we feel like we've got a plan to be able to lower some class sizes, that's in younger levels especially, and maybe at the middle school level, to maximize face-to-face instruction for every student 5 days a week. So, and then the high school is a whole other monster. The kids rotate, and there's just a lot of factors there according to all opinions aside. The return to school plan is the return to school plan, that's what we're asked to follow. So we're trying to abide by that to the best of our ability and make sure everybody feels as comfortable, depending on where they're coming from, as possible. So there's a lot of bad answers on almost every turn that we try to make with this. So, but I do think we've got a good solid plan to make everybody feel as comfortable as possible and get butts and seats if they want to be there and start teaching. So.
Is it true that there's not going to be any busing?
That's not true at this point. Yeah, we have no reason to not bus students. Obviously, that's a complex situation, getting a bunch of students on a school bus. And again, that's going to be a comfort level thing for a lot of families and trying to figure out what they're good with and what they're not. But we're planning to bus unless we're told not to, type of thing in terms of state. But we know our county's too large. I mean, it's people coming from all over the place. We have to try to be able to get kids in and be able to do it.
I want to know about the masks with kids. That's my concern, because my grandson, I got my grandson, and he's 10 years old, and there's no way he's going to get this.
I can tell you as a teacher, they're not going to wear them.
No, that's a loaded question, and I wish I could sit here and give better news than probably what I'm about to give, but I'm
Well, what
asking
happens
for.
if the parents doesn't send their kids to school with a mask?
We're still working through that. That's probably the conversation that we're least excited to begin to try to be able to have with all these families all over the map and try to be able to figure the system out. So we know the return to school roadmap does have some restrictions in there, in terms of mask wearing, transportation, secondary students especially, are tasked to wear masks during the school day, and unfortunately for us to be able to open, those are elements that we have to navigate through. So like I said, I wish I could sit here and have better answers, for you right now, but all I can do is continue to call legislators and the governor's office and try to be able to make my opinion known. I was on the phone with 2 this weekend trying to explain the complexities of this whole situation so that they understand the challenges that we're going to be facing. I mean, we had a hard enough time keeping hats off students before. I can only imagine, the challenges that, we're going to have here coming forward. I mean, it's just going to be a very complex situation. So.
Well, you are certainly going to earn your paycheck.
We got a really good team, honestly. Everybody's working their butts off trying to get as ready as possible for the fall, and doing so without any idea what our funding is going to be as well from the state. I mean, we're going to be 2 months in the school year before we even know how much funding we're going to get from the state at that point. So truly, we're navigating blind, in terms of trying to be able to pull this thing off. But everybody's committed, and we're going to come up with the best plan possible to support our kiddos. So.
Okay. I think one more question over in the corner.
No, it's not a question,
Oh.
it's just Frank, have Frank give an update on the Chilton Ranch.
Hang on. That's actually,
You let her.
I left it off yeah, but I have never, ever removed that. That's the first time I removed that.
It was on the one we got emailed tonight.
Well, kind of, if I
Okay.
can, this goes.
So I'm going to say thank you very much to Dan O'Connor, and don't let him go anywhere. Okay, so. Okay, go ahead, Frank.
I'll make it brief if I can. The thing we're dealing with the kids is we don't have eyes on our kids. We can't hold functions for them. We have, but not like we would like to. We know the bus drivers who are essential to this community. They see these kids, they see what's happening. We get reports, talk about fake news. We hear these reports about child abuse has taken a big drop. But it's a bunch of bull, because it's just not being
Reported, right.
These kids are so afraid. They would rather live with the devil that they have than the one that's coming down the pipe that they don't know about. With the schools, they provide such a big, important part, more than just education. These children's safety depends on this. They'll come to us afterwards, and regrettably, they'll spill their guts. A year ago, June, I had 4 kids in that office right there that came from his high school that talked to me about taking their lives. 4 kids in this little community.
Yeah.
And I got tipped off. These kids were there because of a bus driver, because of a teacher, because they felt like they couldn't talk about it where they were at. We were a safe spot for them. These are the things that are going on in our community, folks, and you got to get in the face of these people that think this is only happening in Flint or Portland or Detroit. This is happening right here. We don't have eyes on these children, and it's breaking my heart.
Yeah.
You know what we deal with? You see it all day long in the courts, Judge. You see the stuff that's going on there, and I'm all for individual freedoms, but it scares me to death when I hear about all these people that are planning to homeschool their kids. If in fact they were going to school their kids, that's one thing. But are they just using that as an excuse so that the kid can't talk to anybody about the abuse that's happening at home? Ask y'all to pray about this and think about this.
That's why I like Dan O'Connor talking about at least having some accountability, coming into the school at least that one day a week to go over the homework, to see what they're doing, see where they are at. You know, they're trying to do the best they can with what they've been doing.
Yeah, we're trying to explore different options too in case we end up back in phase 3, which we
Oh,
don't really want to entertain that right now, but let's say, you know, that's possible, but trying to figure out a way to open up the school to be able to have the kids come in that need it as well. So everything's on the table right now. We're just, you know, our kids need support and help. So
Yep.
thank you for a couple minutes.
Alrighty.
Frank, I'm gonna leave a couple of these up here just in case you might need it as well.
Yep. Alrighty. Thank you, Dan.